viewers, another new addition to the show. If you want to tell us how you're feeling about this opening series, use the hashtag BR6, tweet at us, and we'll be popping some of those tweets up on stream throughout the course of the day. So please get involved with the conversation. It's not just about me and Tim telling you our thoughts about the games. We want to see what the community thinks as well, because Tim, this is certainly a game that should bring the community together. Two big teams.
Absolutely, everybody should be in and enjoying this one, and that's what it's all about to you and I, Jackie, as everybody, I think, is getting to grips with, getting to know. We love to know that you guys are enjoying it, so yeah, feel free to get in touch, get on Twitter, we'll chuck a couple of bangers up on the screen, we'll read them out, we'll have a little chat about them, we'll have some fun with them, so you feel free to get those tweets raining in. And looking at raining in, we've got the bans well underway now. Thatcher and Maverick will be going by the wayside now. Interestingly, we've seen the real drop-off in Hibana bans on Coastline, which was, you know, pretty much a almost 100% ban rate for Hibana on Coastline previously. But I think the addition of Ace has just changed that up, because he also has that sort of ranged hard breach ability. You know, he's got some serious guns on him, Jackie, and he can launch those Selma devices over a considerable distance.
Oh, mate. He can really launch them out here.
Oh, I've got the maps the wrong way around, Jackie. I've written them down the wrong way around.
What are you doing, Tim?
You
can't predict them, right? You can't even say them, right? What's gotten into you?
I'm having a nightmare already, Jackie.
Well, wake up from it. Splash some water on your face, Tim, because you don't want to miss this, mate. This is less than a nightmare. This is definitely way closer to a dream, because it is a banging first map that is about to commence. Team 1 taking on FaZe Clan. The day is kicking off. It is raring to go from this point forward. We have so many beautiful best of twos coming up tonight, so please stick with us. Tell your friends, tell your family. If you enjoy Siege, then stick around for a spectacle.
You'll be glad to know then I've altered my notes. I've got the maps the right way around. We've got 10 players in the lobby, and we are ready to go. Looking at those bans in terms of Consulate, Maverick's a bit of an interesting one. He does have uses, but there's not a massive requirement to open hatches, particularly on this map. It's quite common in LATAM for them to choose to use the Maverick to open the hard reinforced walls, particularly the garage wall, rather than using somebody like Ace or Thermite. But that being said, there's just so many options there. It doesn't really feel to me, honestly, to take that much away from the attackers. I would preference maybe banning somebody like Nomad. So you've then always got that run-out potential. As it is, we're probably going to see a lot less aggression on this map. The fact that Nomad has been allowed in means that we also get the rare opportunity to potentially see Valkyrie here on Consulate, usually banned out so often because those exterior cams can be an absolute nightmare and can just really support that run-out sort of play style. But with Nomad on the board, there shouldn't be too much concern over that. The air jabs will, I'm sure, do their jobs.
Round 1 is underway. 2 minutes and 40 on the clock so far. A fairly slow round, nothing too ridiculous. We haven't seen Team 1 going for any wildly aggressive plays, but there could be some aggression being delivered straight to the front door of Lukid relatively soon. Luckily enough, he is going to be able to peace out, get himself back into a bit of a safer angle to play from as the drones come in. He is raring to go for this. You can see the confidence on the Melusi right now. Obviously, actually quite an effective roamer. Once you get those Banshees down, you can be a bit more audacious. He knows exactly where they are, Tim. It just depends if he will find himself an entry on the other side of the coin. It seems like actually they're going to go for a run out all the way over the other side. Lesion spits out, but he gets spit back down to the ground. Falls over and gives the entry frag towards FaZe Clan, Tim, with 2 minutes on the clock.
Lukid went really well last time we saw this matchup, and it was on Consulate, Jackie. Team 1 versus FaZe did play on Consulate in Stage 1. Lukid went 12 and 8. He had a very good day. In fact, most of Team 1 went positive. It was very good for them. 100% win rate on Consulate last stage. FaZe, bit more of a mixed bag. Only had 1 win on there, and I think it was a draw and 2 losses. So it's certainly not a map that I would suggest they favour. And Team 1, no surprise to see them picking it up. They are going to be feeling confident coming into this one, but they need to make sure that they get those stars sparkling and they get Lukid doing what he needs to do and getting some kills on the board. As we said, a little bit quiet in the last play day, and usually we would see a little bit more. I think we only had 8 frags from him in play day 1, and that's unusual for him across 2 maps.
Oh, it really is. A man of his stature normally walks away with a fairly large impact in the server. Unfortunately, it wasn't as big as we normally expect, and that is actually going to reduce the size of the Team 1 roster by another man, as Falls will slip over and be left for dead on the ground. Finally finished off by oNe, putting us back into a 3 versus 3. But here's the issue. Look at the sustainability. You glance over to the health bars there, you can see that both KDS and Live are ridiculously low, and the man that was on a good amount of HP is had his noggin blown clean off by Philippox, and it all drops down to a 1 versus 3. 27 seconds left to play with, no real chance now into the round for Live. The likelihood of him winning this clutch is so marginal. He can try and make the best of a bad situation, Tim, but it'll probably just be 1 or 2 consolation frags. That's the best he can hope for.
Well, it's not only 1 versus 3, it's 20 HP versus 300. That's the reality of what he was facing up against there. 15 times the number of hit points that he had left on the board. And it only took 1 meeting for him to be put in the dirt, Jackie, and that is round number 1 going towards Team 1. They come out strong on the defense to begin with, locking Garage down, and they will proceed into round 2 with an advantage on the board.
Ooh. Coming straight in as well, with a lovely little replay, of course. So we get a glimpse back at the run out that they went for on the Legion immediately. Didn't work out well. It's not the ideal scenario. It felt like he actually had enough time to get that frag and potentially at least turn it into a trade if he doesn't get away scot-free. But nah, wasn't the ideal start. Tim, in the end though, Team 1 do come away with the round and best FaZe Clan in the initial opener. FaZe Clan on the attack. I'm trying to think if this was where they struggled the most back when we saw them previously. I think it was on Cafe on their attack, right? They just couldn't get into gear from what I remember.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, looking back, if I take a look at FaZe in Stage 1 on Consulate, it was actually 3 losses, not 2, even worse than I thought. That's not great at all. So 60% loss rate on here over 5 games. That gives us, you know, a good bit of history to go on, really. And talking about attack, you're absolutely right, Jackie. They were weaker on attack than they were on defense. There was only one site where they actually had better than a 40% win rate, and that was Archives and Tellers, which we haven't seen yet, and I'm sure Team 1 will be reasonably happy to maybe even just steer clear of that. So then you're looking at 3 sites where FaZe statistically will lose more than they win, top and bottom of it. They've got less than 50% win rates on there historically. So it's going to be a tough day for them, and it's going to be a tough half. They need to come in and they need to find any advantage they can, get some big kills on the board. Even if they're not getting rounds, they need to make sure that they're at least rocking Team 1, that they're at least pushing them to the limits, so that when they come in on defense, they're not just starting cold. They're not trying to, you know, jumpstart that engine that's already gone out.
That's never ideal. You're in there with the jumper cables. Have you seen, Tim, actually, completely off topic, of course, as we do. Sometimes, you know, obviously before, right, it used to be jumper cables. It was all a bit awkward. Now you can actually get a portable power bank that is literally designed to just start car batteries.
I mean, it was a matter of time, I'm sure. I don't know the ins and outs of the technology, but I'm sure it was a matter of time, and there we are. You know, life gets easier. We've got a little tweet coming in there as well. Do you think FaZe 2 is shifting from a strat to a frag-heavy roster? Do we think that, Jackie? So FaZe moving across. Obviously, Mav has moved away. KDS has come in. We saw KDS. He was reasonably contributing to the frags in Play Day 1, but, you know, certainly not huge numbers. And what I would be concerned about, I wouldn't like to say 100% either way, but what I would say is that I would be concerned that they are getting caught somewhere in the middle without being either one or the other and not really knowing what their identity is. We've only seen them once with the new roster. There's a long time to go yet. Live's already having a better day than he did on Thursday with a double coming in there to open things up in Bathroom. But that's what FaZe need to be careful of, is that they don't get caught up in a transition through this stage.
Oh, absolutely. I think obviously losing Mav is going to restrict them a little bit when it comes to that strategy. We've already heard from Sexy Cake that he's doing a lot to add some new tactical play to the side of Team Liquid. But if you want to be a frag-heavy roster, you need a man like Live to perform better than he did back on the opening play day. And this round has been a true display of his level of skill. He's normally a very keen and effective entry fragger when he's sent in the right environment. The 2 frags he got into this round are pretty pivotal as well. They are impact frags. You've taken down the Wamai, and you've also been able to finish off the smoke, of course. This is going to help you out late round, and that's the position we found ourselves in, Tim. With 30 seconds left to work with, time starting to tick away, a bit of damage across the board back to the FaZe Clan roster, but no one's died, and that is the important point.
It's a very good point that you make, Jackie, about Live and the entry kills. Astro was the only one to out-kill him on the entry in stage 1. 27 for Astro, 21 opening kills for Live. And so it really is something that they need him to be doing. And the diffuser will go down in the chaos that ensues there. Ion and KDS finishing things off with a couple of kills in round 2. So FaZe getting themselves on the board immediately. And as I say, they really needed that because previously, historically, they have struggled on the attack of Consulate. So needed to be careful. They didn't want to find themselves too far behind here. Yes, they've got that defense to look forward to, but the sooner they can get their 2 or 3 rounds on the board, the sooner they will settle down and the better chance they have got of taking this map away from Team 1. It's still going to be a big ask because Team 1 very, very capable here, but FaZe looking more like the FaZe of old there in round 2. That's the big thing for me. You've hit the nail on the head, Jackie. Live's come in and got himself a couple of openers. Big start for him. Really needed that confidence boost, I'm sure. And then the rest of the team has followed up as well. And that's more what we expect to see. Certainly phasing up there.
Oh yeah, that's way more vintage than what we had back on the first play day, right? This is what we saw over the course of the whole first stage, where you could send him in, he would get those entry frags, he would put you into a position to at least pick a round up. Definitely, it's fair to say he struggled last time around. If that was first game back, nerves of the roster still trying to find their newfound footing of how KDS slips in, what the adjustments really are, because that's what we were talking about back then on play day 1 as well, right, Tim? Where we said we're not sure how FaZe are going to adapt. If it'll be a matter of KDS comes in and they're just going to make a straight 1-for-1 switch in terms of the way they want him to play and the role he'll fill based off of Mav's departure, or if they're going to restructure the roster a little bit. And it seemed like maybe they were trying to alter the roster slightly. It didn't look good, but at least tonight it looks a little bit better. You go 1-for-1 in the opening rounds of Consulate. They keep the game close, but let's see where it will go from here. Back into the third round now as the aggression will be coming out once again. In terms of the picks, nothing too ridiculous. We've seen a switch over there for Astro as he'll be donning the Jackal. I am also liking Yuna on the Ace. Once again, we've seen Ace a lot more than we've seen Malusi, but into this game, ooh,
there he goes.
Like we might not see any of the defensive side of Team 1 getting a chance to show off those skills. As Live goes straight in with another entry frag, this is way better, Tim.
Honestly, I'm really happy to see it. You know, it's always, you never want to see a player have such a rough day as Live did on Thursday, and I'm really glad that he has come back. He's just got his head straight, and he is banged straight into this one, and that's at least 3 so far. I'm not sure if he's got any more that we've missed along the way, but he's definitely got 2 last round, and then the opener here. He is really coming in sharp, and that is what we wanted to see from him. Good, strong start for Live. So 1 minute into the round, FaZe once again getting themselves that early advantage, just moving in quickly and catching Team 1 whilst that preparation of the top floor was still underway. So that goes some way towards allowing FaZe to take the top floor control here. Now, this could be a big flank coming in from Felipox. He'll catch one on a drone, but will be shut down by the man himself. Live once again. He is having a tear so far, Jackie. He is firing his way in and slaying on the server here on Consulate.
Complete role reversal from what we had on the opening play there, and it's way better to see Alive once again alive. That pulse is back. He effectively looked dead when we saw him previously, and it is truly a great sight to have him back popping off again on the Ash. His entry fragging prowess really reigning supreme here, but it's the late round that they have to contend with now. Down to a minute on the clock as Live once again clearing his angles, trying to gain that map control and spot out if there is any roamers in play, but he won't be finding anything. Instead, he can just clear out towards the cameras, work his way back up underneath the spiral staircase, and then they'll be set for a pincer play onto the site. Yuna is there still. He's got 3 of those Selma breaching devices, so they can tear down these hard walls. But what I'm worried about, Tim, is if they fall back into that slower style of FaZe, where they execute onto the site a little bit too late, one wrong move, and the round goes kaput.
That's it. You know, they had some momentum moving across top floor there. They've unfortunately lost a man there to Lukid on the flank, and Foles put one down at the same time, and that's how we found ourselves in a 3 versus 3. But top floor control, not quite theirs. We've still got the Malusi of Foles upstairs, but half health. He needs challenging, and that's exactly what you're talking about there. We don't want FaZe to slow down too much. Get in there, get him killed, use that confidence that you've had. Foles, it's going to be, though, to get the kill onto Astro, and things start falling apart for FaZe here as Reduct gets in on the action as well. It's all down to oNe, shut down by Foles on a trade. It's going to be the round to Team 1, picking up press and lobby on that mid floor, and FaZe, it just feels like there was a real opportunity there for them to come in and just a little bit of a lapse in concentration maybe to let Lukid up those Visa stairs. It really hurt them. It was only 1 kill, but it left them 3 versus 3, whereas they might have lost a man to Foles anyway, but they could have been 3 versus 4, and it just gives them that extra edge, that extra man to just double up and pinch Foles and get him cleared out. You've got your top floor control, and you can really start pressuring the 2 that are left inside, but they were just never really able to do that in round 3.
It's a rough round to lose as well, right? Because how many times are you going to be able to capitalize off the back of Live just cleaning up with so many entry kills, so many opening opportunities? He was basically the cement trying to keep that round together. But in the end, you get Team 1 coming in, looking like a sledgehammer and just shattering their hopes and dreams. So a 2-1 split on the scoreline so far. It still is very much early doors of Consulate, so it's not an overwhelming play that's been just whitewashing them every round. It's not as if Team 1 are just dominating. The rounds are still close, which is at least a good sign for the course of the series here, Tim, because, again, this is one of the 2 fixtures we were looking at tonight to be a very close affair. These are the types of games that could realistically go to a 7-5 region both times.
Oh, not 2 ways about it. We could be in for another 24-rounder here. We've already had plenty of them so far. So, excuse me, that was
take your breath
really
away.
badly. That really took my breath away. Did that one, Jackie?
You're right there, mate.
I'm struggling.
Oh,
there we go. I've leveled up. I've leveled out. I've leveled out.
Oh God, took his breath away. Well, is this something that will take your breath away, Tim? The coastline rework. The map's looking a little bit different, isn't it?
Coastline rework, question mark. It's a good question. It's, I think now something, it seems to be a process that we seem to have slipped into in Siege. It's like every time there's a rework of a map, it's sort of like, right, what's the next rework going to be? I don't think we're ever going to be in a position where we just have a static set of 7 maps, and that is, you know, what we use, or maybe a static pool of, say, 10 competitive maps, and each season just sees a different set of 7 used. It always feels like there's a next rework on the cards, and that's sort of inevitable because obviously the longer that a map is played, the more we see the same strategies, the more we see it just sort of perfected with iteration time and time again until a point where you do see just very similar action over and over again. Do I think Coastline would benefit? I don't think too much personally. Off the top of my head, I'll be honest, I've not given this any deep thought in the last 60 seconds, Jackie. But I don't think it needs too much of a change. I think easier and sort of more free rotation options would be a good thing, because we talk constantly about how the roam game is limited, and once you clear out those top floor roamers, if you're taking top floor control for a bottom floor objective, for example, very difficult for the roamers to get back into the game or play any sort of flank. It's very easy to lock down, so I think that's a change that Coastline could probably benefit from.
Yeah, I thought he was just goofing you because you said it was Coastline rather than Consulate when you got the maps the wrong way around. I thought he was just goofing you, but I do appreciate, you know, the genuine
I just tried
response.
to sidestep it, Jackie.
He's basically double done you there. You've been rused multiple times, and it seems
Been
like there's
lampooned.
Oh, mate, there's some lampooning going on into this round. KDS, he suffered some damage, but they do role reverse it. Astro coming out with the entry frags. Philippe Box, he's been sent off to the Shadow realm. Tim, they're still building more into this as well. This is like a super solid round coming out from FaZe Clan in the way they played it. You've got 48 seconds left to work with. It's a 5 versus 2. You've nearly got map control that's really going to benefit you, and Falls is down to his low smell can, as he will chuck it out. Another 2 frags come back in, Tim. This round looked like it was over, but now it's just beginning.
3 versus 3, Live and KDS both on low HP as well, and Falls, he's entrenched here in the They're scary. Just looking to make a nuisance of himself, and that's exactly what he will do. Flip into the SMG, he gets one. Rap steps in to help him out, has his back and gets the kill onto Live. That leaves Astro now 1 versus 3 and an absolute mountain to climb. He finds himself out on the balcony. He's going to drop off the rappel. He needs to get his boots on the ground and start to try hitting some shots. It's all got to start with a kill, but it starts with the wrong one for Astro as Lukid shuts him down, shuts out the round, and finds another one for Team 1. They will go 3-1 ahead now.
And that's scary, right? Because that's a round where effectively FaZe Clan have come in, you've got yourself into a 5 versus 3, you've picked off multiple key players for the side, they didn't have too much utility left as well, and then it all just crumbles away. Bit by bit, Team 1, they put up the defenses, they slam down the barricades, and they walk away with another round. A critical round at that as well, as now the scoreline goes 3-1. They're really rocking it here on their defense, and it's scary because, again, it just comes back to haunt you, Tim. You got to think for FaZe Clan, right? They should at least have 2 rounds into this game. They had multiple opportunities now to snatch away potentially even a more dominant scoreline and have this flipped on its head where it could be a 3-1 in favour of FaZe. There was the round where we saw Live just popping off with the entry frags on Ash. We've just had that round as well where it seems like it was theirs to throw away, and throw away it they did. It's just a bit worrying. Their attack has a lot of issues at the minute.
And we said this coming in historically on Consulate, it has certainly not been the best side of things for them, hasn't the attack? Team 1, as expected, just completely avoiding Archives and Tellers, which is the site where FaZe have shown us their best attacking performances here. So Team 1 obviously done the homework, obviously got themselves prepared for this very matchup here on this map, and that would suggest to me that they feel that they've done pretty well out of that ban in FaZe, but obviously there is still a big portion of this matchup to go on Coastline. We are in a best of 2, so points are awarded in the league based across both map results. Sorry, it's not based on sort of points for one and then points for the other. It depends on what you do on both. So 2 wins on 2 maps will get you 3 points. A win and a draw will get you 2 points. Win and a loss or 2 draws, that's 1 point. And then a draw and a loss or 2 losses, that will be 0 points. So Team 1 looking to get themselves some solid foundations here on Consulate, and so far so good. They find themselves 3-1 on the scoreboard coming into round 5, and we will have a garage hold here now. That could be dangerous for Reduct. I don't think he's aware that he's been spot out. Will he see the drone underneath the bench there? He doesn't take a shot at it, so he does seem to have just wriggled himself away. If you see there, he's got himself into bathroom and he's just going to scarp her. So I think he did ultimately see that, but he needs to be returning to the scene of the crime, and he needs to be careful there, Jackie. He might just find himself getting pinched.
Ooh. Oh no, I think you need to pinch Team 1 as well because they're sleeping at the minute. They need to wake up. Again, the entry frags are coming out off the back of Live. This is the man we know and love as he's really turning up the temperature, dialing up the heat as he dials down, dropping 2 players on the side of Team 1. We also saw another man getting gunned down in the meantime as well, so it's left on Falls and Lukid. Outnumbered in a bit of an awkward spot. It's a 4 versus 2, and you've got 1 minute and 25 seconds. Now, FaZe Clan, if they play their cards right here, as soon as you get that diffuser down, you can essentially know that this round is not going to be lost. You have a fantastic post plant towards Garage. It's so easy to hold it. That's if they even want to go for the gamble of getting it down, though. They could just out-frag them at this point. You outnumber them, you can play it together, you can go in, gain that map control. You've essentially got a 4 versus 1 onto the site as Lukid is out roaming around, and he's not finding much that's going to help him. Ace comes into play, but they try and turn the tides, Tim, and it seems like they've crashed down on him like a ginormous wave. Lukid, you're left in the 1v2. Can he do it as he walks back around, paranoid about the vertical play? Here's that goo mine go off. It gives him the audio cue, but it won't cue him up to win the round. KDS turns on a dime, hits the headshot, and picks up the round.
That was tough for Lukid there. I feel like, and it's absolutely not a criticism, but just I think that goes differently if he can move quicker. He can't because he's concerned about the sound, obviously, but I don't think KDS was actually aware of his location. I don't think that they knew exactly where he was pushing from, and it was just good game sense from KDS to think, you know what, we can't see him anywhere in sight. There's going to be a rotation here, and it just took that couple of seconds for FaZe to recognize that, to check everywhere in sight, and then KDS thinks, I don't like my backside on yellow stairs here, flips it round, turns it, hits him with the turn and burn, 180, kiss, bang, bang, finishes the round off. Great play from KDS, but Lukid on another day there, if he can just move a few seconds sooner or a little bit quicker, he maybe gets that kill onto the Nomad, and then it's a 1 versus 1 and it's anybody's game. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's all coulda, woulda, shoulda, Jackie. He did not, and FaZe, they got the round in the bag, 3-2, and they keep themselves in touch, and they can get onto the defensive half, 3-0. I think they'll be happy enough with that.
Oh yeah, if you can at least bring it back, get it rounded out into a solid position, it makes up for a couple of the rounds that it feels like they already should have won by this point. It keeps the game close, keeps it competitive, and it gives you a good building point to try and ascend once you're on your defense. Now, looking at the defense, though, 2 players that are sticking out like sore thumbs really for me at the minute. Luca as well, 6 frags. It was nice. He's been cleaning up into a couple of these rounds, and Fall's been having a bit of a game as well, 7-3. There's another operator that I want to glance at, though, Tim, that we always try and get a bit excited for, because, of course, there's an Oryx coming out for Philippox.
Always try to get excited, Jackie. We're just trying to, we want those highs again. We want the highest highs that we saw from Scardinio last season on Villa, where he jumped up the hatch, he hit him on the flank beautifully, but then moved away, used the ability to smash his way through a soft wall, changed up his angle of attack and got himself a second. It was an absolute beaut, but we haven't seen anything of the like since, and every time it gets brought out, you and I both are watching those hatches. We are just locked in, ready for something special, but it just never seems to come about. We'll see if Philippox can deliver this time around or not. Now, we are on a garage hold once again. You could be forgiven almost for thinking we were playing up towards the top floor. You can see there's a major extension gone on up here. We've got reinforcements in place. We've got rotations opened up. And Team 1, they are certainly looking to use the entirety of Consulate here and use the entirety they will as Falls gets himself a kill onto Live to start things off at the yellow door. So that is going to be 1 down. The Ash is gone and the advantage sits with Team 1.
A sick opener. A good way to repaint yellow stairs into something a little bit more red. Falls, really wanting to get himself closer towards double digits as well. Holding strong and gunning away. Bullets after bullets riddling by, but no one receiving them as a glorious gift. Instead, they are going to make a bit of a rotation around. I thought that might have been Yuna, but instead it is actually KDS that's got himself low down to the ground, trying to look through the drone hole to get a read off and potentially blow off one of his shoes. They do go for a mass migration, though, as they'll pick themselves back up. Ion, grouping with KDS, will roam around and look for another entry point in. Meanwhile, Astro has already found one of Klaus, clearing out from the top floor down. This is where it could get a little bit awkward if Lukid doesn't spot him out, as the chance of a potential backstab on the late site execute.
Just looking to push slowly, Lukid. He's making an absolute menace of himself out on the roam. Very, very difficult to pin down. Now he sees his man, puts shots on, and Philippox it will be. Comes in with a headshot onto Astro as well. Falls onto Yuna, and it is all falling apart right now for FaZe as we find ourselves 5 versus 1. Raps getting in on the action. The prone will not surprise KDS as he manages to get 2 on the round now. Could he do this? He's already brought the odds down to his favour, but no, he moves in to the canteen without getting into his ADS and pays the price he does as he is ultimately shut down by a reduct on the Mozzie. Look at that, through past the bomb chassis, just threads the eye of a needle and finishes the round for Team 1. Good start for them, 4-2 on the half, and FaZe, they've got a job to do here on Consulate.
I was a little bit worried for the Mozzie there. It felt like he didn't clock him. There was like a millisecond grace period when he ran in through the doorway before we saw the adjustment. Oh, could have got awkward. But in the end, it gets shut down as a 4-2 split on the half. And now Team 1 have an opportunity to show off their aggression and tenacity on their attack. And obviously for FaZe Clan, this is a blessing as well, right? You're on your defense. They performed arguably way better on their defense in recent history. And they're actually going to pull out an Oryx pick as well, Tim. We got KDS on it. I think it's the first time we've actually seen KDS go for this pick.
I think it is. We haven't seen the Oryx brought from him, and we're still learning a lot about KDS. Obviously, the new player to the roster. He's replaced Mav, as we talked about earlier. It might come to as a surprise to a few people if they weren't aware of it. Obviously, Mav, a long-standing member of the FaZe lineup, but he has moved across to Team Liquid, primarily in a coaching position, I believe, but also as a 6th player option as well. So Mav keeping his options open over there, and I think it's a great pickup from Team Liquid, to be fair. A lot of knowledge going across with him, but KDS we will learn plenty about over the next 4 weeks, I'm sure. Now, as you say, going to bring the Oryx along, and we are going straight away to Archives and Tellers. So if you haven't seen this one defended before, what are you about to see? Well, generally speaking, you'll see some attention paid to that top floor. The attackers will try and get in, get control over admin, move down with vertical pressure into Visa, and then try and get a diffuser plant down in the tellers area, usually on top of one of the desks or the marble plinth, to try and keep themselves safe from those myriad nitros that we've got. Unit and Live, Ion, all with nitro options. Astro as well, 4 potentially on the side. So that really shows how they expect to try and hold this plant off. Now, Ion is going to lose his life very early on to Team 1, and that is not a good start for FaZe here on Archives and Tellers.
So rough. There's also the fact as well, I mean, FaZe were hot today when it came into the entry frag, specifically Live. It was night and day compared to what you'd seen back on the first play day. He was really playing his role to success, but a lot of the rounds where he did pop off, they couldn't close them out. Now you get onto your defense, the side we were hyping up for them and saying this is where FaZe should be able to hunker down, slog their way through, get a couple of rounds and bring the game back, and you lose Ion immediately. You lose a lot with that as well. Okay, going down so early could restrict them when it comes to the utility and could make it a little bit more awkward. It's a 5 versus 4. There's 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock. And what is the response going to be? What is the game plan that we have coming out from FaZe? Will they look to try and take a stab in the dark and build it back, getting themselves a frag and equalizing? Or will they just stick to their guns and hold towards the site? You've got the late round rotation possibility here of Astro, and say his name and he'll start the pop off. A clean kill comes out as he assaults his way onto the falls, picks off the first man, and could be ready to bite off a couple more heads.
This is actually really good from FaZe. Astro keeping himself alive, might lose his head if he's not careful. How about that Nitro, though? Hits the door frame, and Astro, he hits everything he aims for right now. Takes 1 on the Nitro, flips it round 180, gets himself a kill into the copy room as well. Can he get a third? No, he will not. Redux shuts him down, but 3 overall on the round, 2 in that very short space of time. Great plays from Astro, and he has really put Team 1 on the back foot, wasting an awful lot of time. And you've got to remember, Jackie, still 2 nitros downstairs in the hands of Live and oNe here potentially. I'm not sure if either have been used, but I don't think there's really been any need to so far. So hopefully they've got those in pocket and they will be ready to deny this plant attempt. We can see Redux, he starts to throw it down on the floor. Here comes oNe with the nitro in hand, but not quickly enough. I can only assume that he didn't have one available. You can see that the one from the mirror was thrown out, but unsuccessfully. Redux with a big double. 2-1 now. What a swing in momentum here as the diffuser went down successfully. And I think, yes, oNe had already used his nitro earlier in the round, so had to go in and try and get the shotgun denial, but was unsuccessful with the pulse. So now finds himself 10 seconds needing 2 frags, and this one's not going to happen, Jackie. This is a Team 1 round.
Yeah, the pulse of Pulse has just flatlined. The man is dead. As a blanket will be thrown over him, it's Lukid that runs up and just shuts this one down, putting another in the bank of Team 1. They are really starting to pick up some speed at this point as well, Tim. I think it's fair to say we're into big MPH territory.
Oh, absolutely. The legs are stretched at this point, and they are motoring, no question about it. But for me, it's really a tale of 2 teams almost, just looking at FaZe. I'm not even including Team 1 in that. You've got Astro. Look at the nitro on the replay. Absolutely beautiful. Astro did some great work up in admin. Burned over 2 minutes, kept himself fighting, took 3 with him, did a huge job for his team. And then 2 versus 3, with 2 players downstairs, one of which is a pulse that can essentially see through walls and see when that diffuser is going down on the ground, still unable to close it out. And That is the tale of two teams for me of FaZe there. You've got Astro doing great work, and then the others just struggling to put it over the line for him.
Which is obviously what was happening back on attack as well. You just have to flip the names around because it was Live that was getting the entries, which is it's just a bit worrying. It's not the ideal Christmas present. And talking of Christmas presents, we've got another tweet that's come through. Of course, guys, remember, hashtag BR6, and you will get featured on the stream. Christmas came early this year. Oh, wait, never mind. It's just that Ace of Pyrat and Jackie eSports casting more R6 Latam. This is more epic than Christmas anyway. I mean, Tim, this is certainly a present for us. The whole day is looking like, well, not socks, probably more of like a Sega Dreamcast, right? That's what the day is looking like.
You're talking absolute peak Christmas gift in there, Jackie. Absolute peak. Nothing like a new console under the Christmas tree.
Oh, mate. You go wild. Bit of Alex Kidd on there. Again, we've done another one where everyone's just going to be like, what? What's a Dreamcast? What's an Alex Kidd? Oh, we're old, Tim.
Oh, we're old and we're feeling it, Jackie. But I don't think that this map is going to get too old as it goes at the minute, because it is going to be over in quick fashion whilst the day is still young at this rate. Team One, they look unstoppable here on Consulate at the moment. 5-2, they find themselves up on the scoreboard, and FaZe able to do very little here to actually impact on the outcome of many of these rounds. They're heading down to attack onto Garage this time around, Team One, and I can see that once again they will get the access that they need. Look at this, a minute into the round, already heading into clear out Piano. There comes the first challenge. He's got the man down, he doesn't know yet, but Ion, he's just going to bleed away until he dies. I think he just sees the foot there, but might not quite notice it. But what about this, Jackie? The diffuser's going down. A bit of a stealth plant. Falls will stick it, and that is a major problem for FaZe. They've allowed the diffuser into sight and to go down. This is one of the hardest retakes in all of Siege. KDS gets himself a kill, but it's likely impactless. Raps follows it up with one of his own. Ion's down. It's 2 versus 4. This is an absolute nightmare for FaZe.
It's all gone sour. Ooh, there was a little opportunity there for Yuna to do some damage as he pops off with the LMG and slaps a couple of faces, but in the end, of course, falls from this position. There's no chance you can really throw it away. Once you get the diffuser down on a site like that, you've opened up those angles, you've got clear post-plant positioning. You can just sit back, wait until you hear the tap, peek out, and end the round. It's so easy to clutch it from that position. There's no reason why it ever would have been thrown away, and it doesn't. Instead, they go through here now with a 6-2 split on the scoreline. 1 round away from ending this, Tim. And for it to be over already. 7-2 straight from the get-go, which is crazy when you think about it. We were looking at these games being incredibly close tonight, especially this opening series. It had my money of this being a back-and-forth battle where FaZe Clan would want to prove that they are above Team One. But Team One, they are riding high at the minute. This game could be over this round.
As we said coming into it, Jackie, you know, we had some concerns. We had some concerns over FaZe on Thursday, but we'd sort of written that off. It was the first game of a new stage. They came out a little bit slow, and, you know, they certainly performed better on the second map than they did the first. And you know, maybe it's just a bad day at the office. Let's hope they turn it around. But we're not really seeing that from them here today. I mean, this is the team that were runners-up in the mini-major back in August. They are certainly capable, but they really are not showing it to us right now. Now, again, Consulate is a map that they've struggled with previously, but you start totting up the maps that they're struggling with, Jackie, and you start finding yourself with a problem. They are very popular, common maps. Oregon, Consulate. How many times are you likely to play those over the season? You can only ban so many maps out, and you need to have as broad a map pool as possible. And if that is part of the problem for FaZe here, it's something they're going to need to work on quickly, because it could end up running away from them in this stage before they even know it.
Terrifying prospect. It's really not an ideal start for FaZe here into stage 2 of the BR6. It's a terrifying position to be in, especially when Team One once again now are trying their luck early on. They've kept rocking the ace, and Falls makes quick work of those hard reinforcements, tearing the pieces, shattering them one by one with the Selma breaching devices, and giving them an early opening angle. We could have a bit of combat going down towards the yellow stairs though. Philippox just spamming through the barricade early on to try and arch some backs and terrify anyone that's in close proximity. But there's no overextension. There's no risky business from FaZe. They're not going for any power plays to him and looking to capitalize early on. Instead, they are just turtling. They're waiting for the fight to come towards them.
I'm just a bit concerned about FaZe's ability to pick up on drones as well. You know, we know that the players at this level, generally, they're snapping on, they're taking them straight out. They know that there's a Twitch drone in sight because it hit a Maestro cam whilst it was being operated. So they have to be aware that there was something in there interfering. And then we still see it picking up Astro on the Jaeger, out in the corridor at the bottom of Visa stairs, and just seemed to be completely unaware of it. Reduct it was, I think, that took advantage of that last time around. And, you know, they need to be very, very cautious of that. They can't be allowing themselves to get spotted out like that. You know, last time it was the Legion, and we need to be very careful because they're going to lose men too quickly.
You lose men, you're going to lose the round. This round right now is slowed down. We have 60 seconds left. Team 1, all 5 alive. FaZe Clan, the same can be said. Everyone's heart's pounding in their chests as the pressure is on. You concede this, you concede the opening map, you'll drop Consulate and we'll go over the coastline to see if they can bite back and at least keep the series close. They're looking to use that lifeline device to breach their way through the shield, open up the line of sight so they can get a first pick, but it's not working out too well, of course. The ADSs and 1Y magnets that are in play are just going to suck them up and delete them from existence. Have they got enough throwables to overcome? Right now, they can't. They know he's there, Tim, but there's nothing they can physically do to force him from behind the shield and start to knock his socks off. Philippox and the peak towards the stairway, though, might be able to take a couple of blocks off if he can hit a headshot. It's a 1 versus 3 all of a sudden as things have really started to go wrong. My mistake, 2 versus 3 actually. Diffuser going down though, but Astro's going to push in. He gets the close angle, but it's down. KDS, you're in a risky position here, and it all starts to go wrong. It's left up the Redux in a 1 versus 4. Astro's on it. They've got to get him off. They're not going to make it in time. The disable comes through, and FaZe Clan get another round.
Great play from Astro there. Recognised that there was only one man left and he was a reasonable distance from sight. He had to be. So Astro just taking the opportunity to get on that diffuser, play the objective and put a round on the board. And not before time as well, FaZe. Very, very little opportunity left now to them. 6-3 they find themselves, and serious work to be done. They have not got any room for any further errors, and something like that, just letting the diffuser go down, it can be an absolutely fatal error.
Scary, but at least it keeps them in the game. I mean, FaZe, 3 rounds. It's not unfathomable. They could definitely do it. They could pick these up. They could try and take this to at least a draw and deny Team 1 getting a win here, which will hurt Team 1. It will slow them down. We had the issues of yesterday, Tim, where a lot of teams were struggling to close out games. They were getting into a point where they were run round away. They were sat on match point, and there was constant reverse sweeps that were occurring. But maybe there's a little bit of fight left in this one yet.
Very possibly, but I'll be honest, with the way that we've seen FaZe playing so far, and I look at it and think, can Team 1 find a way on one more site? That's all they need to do. They just need one more successful attack. Given what we've seen so far, my money has to go with Team 1. FaZe, they're going to have to show us something that they haven't yet brought out of the locker. We're heading back to archives and tellers, and if we remember this from the last time we saw it with FaZe defending Jackie back in round 7, we had Astro do some great work up in admin, take 3 with him, leave FaZe overall in a 2 versus 3 to their advantage, but still it was lost. The diffuser was able to go down with, despite there being men alive downstairs and a pulse scanner in play to spot out where the diffuser was going to be placed. It was rough. There's no other way to describe it. And, you know, can I see Team 1 repeating that? Absolutely.
Okay. 6-3. It's all to play for. The game is certainly starting to spice up, and it feels like FaZe, they're finding their footing a little bit, but has it come out too late? Do they not have enough time to get back into the game? Eyes glancing over towards Raps early on with the entry. He is on the Ash. He's got a lot of map control. He's been able to bombard his way in, and he's really taken quite a high tempo into this one, but he's not found an opening opportunity yet. Here's the scary factor as well, of course. You've got Yuna on FaZe. He can stick himself down, low to the ground, all the way towards the basement level, and make full use of that heartbeat scanner to have a good read on the situation, a good idea of the game of push and pull that is occurring. Perhaps Will he be able to get that early entry? Roaming around, seems like FaZe could have shut down a man team, but it's an awkward encounter and the bullets won't actually connect. He's really running the risk though. A consistent reface into that one, peaks multiple times, but to no avail. Just a bit of damage done to Astro.
FaZe, they're hungry. They're hungry at this point of Team 1. They just want to get in there and win it, and you can see that coming out, as you say, with the re-peak in there. Just keeps facing up to that window, and he's willing to take the challenge, but will not get his man, as I think it was Astro dipped away, having lost a little bit of health on the way as well. So now Team 1, they've got that top floor control that they wanted. They've done it much quicker than they managed to last time, and they haven't lost 3 along the way. So it's certainly going better to begin with for them. But by the flip side as well, FaZe, they haven't lost any men to it, which they did previously. Astro, he's still alive and kicking and could prove an absolute nightmare here if he times this right. But it looks like the man above him, I think it's the Sledge of Lukid, seems to be aware of his presence. Now, Reduct moving in as well. I think Astro's getting spotted out by that Jackal Inox scanner as well. He certainly is, and in comes the challenge, but the shotgun is not powerful enough at that range to do the business. Reduct, however, will move in and get the kill live. Hits his own man, Una, with the nitro. It's all falling apart for FaZe. Is this the moment for Team 1? 5 versus 2. Now, Live manages to put the brakes on for the time being, but FaZe will get into a position to put the diffuser down. That's exactly what he's doing. 1 second left to go, and it will be successfully activated. Live a second on the round with the Vector. Find ourselves now 3 versus 2. FaZe shuts him down though, and it is all down to Ion. He hasn't had the busiest game so far. 3 and 8. Make that 4 and 8 as he gets 1. 1 versus 2 now. Ion, he's looking for 2 more. He's got about 20 seconds left to do it, but they are grouped up together. Smart move though. One heads up the spiral stairs and looks to get a vertical hold onto this site. He has little choice but to start trying to bait a challenge out here. He needs to know where they're attacking him from, and he realizes that there's one up above. He's going to turn his eye skywards, but all he'll find is bullets raining down, and that's going to be FaZe shutting down the round. Ion taken out despite his best efforts, and Team 1, they take Consulate in what can only be described as convincing fashion.
A big game, a beautiful display, and a lovely clean-up there towards the end, securing them the win, Tim. As they will pick up the first map, it felt like there was a little bit of fight in FaZe Clan towards the end. They started to get back into it. Again, still seems like they are trying to figure out the dynamics of the new roster and the way they want to play it with KDS coming in, but it looked better than